Part 119. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1181. Which hospital are you going to? You're wasting your time. My Aiken and I are both doctors. Feng Qingxiu had a vague guess. Put out your hand and let me feel your pulse. Bai Shui obediently stretched out her hand. After checking both her left and right hands, Feng Qingxiu looked extremely serious. Aiken, do it. Seeing her expression, Bai Shui was frightened and said with a sad face, Qingxiu, I won't be seriously ill, will I? Am I going to die? I don't want to die. I haven't had enough of my good life yet. My dream it's not reached yet. What dream? Feng Qingxiu asked smoothly while feeling her pulse in Guancheng. Bai Shui said pitifully, I really like Chong Sam. My dream is that the country will not be so strict in the future. I took out the Chong Sam from the bottom of the box and put it on. I also put on the jewelry I collected, including my favorite gold necklace also. Comrade Wang Suihai looks very beautiful when he puts on lipstick and sprays perfume. I also want to put on some lipstick, spray some perfume and put on a pair of high heels. Feng Qingxiu sighed, your dream is very good. Many lesbians have the same dream as you. Love of beauty has been a woman's nature throughout the ages. It seems that many people have complied with the oppression of clothing in this era and live in black, blue, and gray, but their desire for beauty is even more eager in their hearts. Otherwise, Shanghai women would not become the envy of women all over the country, because Shanghai is the clothing is more fashionable than other places. Am I right? Qingxiu, you are really my soulmate. Bai Shui completely forgot about his provocation to Feng Qingxiu because of his coveting Lu Zhang, and only felt the joy of meeting someone with the same path. Can you be unhappy? Usually when she says she likes Chong Sam, jewelry, and cosmetics, everyone immediately criticizes her, saying that this kind of thinking is inappropriate. Guancheng listened to them discussing Chong Sam, Bragi, and French perfume, and finally couldn't help interrupting them, and, the soup won't taste good when it's cold. Drink it while it's hot. And this Bai Shui comrade, congratulations, you are more than 1 month pregnant. In the future, you should strengthen your nutrition and don't do strenuous exercise. It's just a talent if you don't notice the changes in your body. Bai Shui spat out her saliva with a pop, and almost sprayed into the soup bowl. Fortunately, Feng Qingxiu quickly diverted her away. Pregnant? What did you say? Bai Shui was extremely excited. Guancheng felt a little strange. She looked less than 30 years old and was already married. Isn't pregnancy normal? Why are you so surprised and almost panicked? That's right, I diagnosed Huamai. Auntie, are you too? Bai Shui turned her head and stared at Feng Qingxiu. When she saw her nodding, yes, it's like a moving ball. There is no doubt that it will slip. What do you mean? Bai Shui asked. Feng Qingxiu took a sip of the soup and said, it's not interesting, I'm just pregnant. Why didn't you tell me I was pregnant earlier? You've been chatting with me for so long. Bai Shui wanted to jump up and accuse Feng Qingxiu of being too unsympathetic, but suddenly she thought of what Guancheng told her, and immediately sat back down slowly. At the same time, he sought confirmation again and again, am I pregnant? Am I really pregnant? Qingxiu, you can't coax me, can you? Feng Qingxiu said with a smile, don't you say you are happy with my triplets every day? Why do you turn your back and deny it when you are happy? I didn't coax you. We took a pulse and found out that you are pregnant. There is no doubt that you are pregnant. There is no doubt. Tianling came in from outside and happened to hear these words, and said with a smile, congratulations, Bai Shui. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1182. Bai Shui held her face and opened her mouth, grinning wider and wider, and her eyes narrowed into slits. Feng Qingxiu finished the soup and drank all the ingredients in it. She handed the empty bowl to Guancheng. Looking at Bai Shui, who was full of joy, she said funnily, "Stop being so silly. I'll get some red dates and longan back later to make up for it. There is also malted milk, I won't drink it during confinement." Mr. Su's salary is not low, so he usually buys more nutritional supplements for himself. "Then you don't have to say it." Bai Shui was not polite at all. "Qingxiu, you are really a miracle doctor. When my child is born, he will definitely let him recognize you as his godmother and benefit from your wisdom." Feng Qingxiu rolled her eyes. Bai Shui was no longer in the mood to tease the triplets. After bidding farewell to Feng Qingxiu, she walked away slowly and carefully. Looking at her cautious look, Tianling laughed and said, "It's only been more than a month, so you are so cautious. When you wait 4 or 5 months, or when you are about to give birth, you are not allowed to hold yourself as a treasure. She has been married for so many years and finally got pregnant, so she must be careful." Feng Qingxiu understood very well. Su Junlin was overjoyed when he learned that Bai Shui was pregnant. Within 2 days, he sent someone to send the twin sons back to the capital. The reason was that the 2 boys overheard the news of Bai Shui's pregnancy and actually scattered the beans stolen from the race course on the ground. If it wasn't that Su Junlin got up in the middle of the night to relieve himself and slipped, then it was Bai Shui who fell. It was so vicious that even Su Junlin couldn't stand it, even his biological father. Also because Su Ping and Suan yelled and made a fuss before being sent away, saying that Su Junlin would not want his mother-in-law's children after they were born, so the news of Bai Shui's pregnancy became widely known immediately. Bai Shui was furious. She had wanted to wait 3 months before telling anyone else, but now everything was ruined. She even hated her 2 stepsons for trying to harm her. Yang's mother took Yang Fenying to Feng Qingxiu that day. "Qingxiu, please check Fenying's pulse to see if she needs any treatment. She and Bai Shui got married before and after, and now Bai Shui is pregnant, but there is no movement between her and Fang Ning. Bai Shui said that you took care of her body, so you must have experience. I don't want to find anyone else, for fear of others gossiping. The reason why I came here today is because everyone is on vacation and Tianling is not at the Lu family. Currently, only Lu Zhang is in the house. Even Guancheng went out to play with his younger brothers and sisters, including Feng Qingyun, who was resting today. In order to take care of Su Junlin's face, Bai Shui has been claiming to be taking care of her body." Feng Qingxiu was not surprised at all by Yang Mu's statement. "Auntie, when it comes to childbirth, both men and women have equal parts. Don't blame Sister Yang for everything." Feng Qingxiu said this, but she still drove Lu Zhang out, and then asked Yang Fenying to stretch out her hands. "I went through everything and asked some questions about Yang Fenying's usual physical condition and menstrual period, etc. After summarizing, I felt a little heavy. Qingxiu, if you have anything to say, just say it. There is no need to hide it between us," Yang Fenying said simply and neatly. Under Mother Yang's worried gaze, Feng Qingxiu said softly, "Sister, your constitution is a bit serious due to weak constitution. The chance of pregnancy is small. However, if you take good care of yourself, there is no chance of pregnancy. It's not a little serious, it's very serious, right?" Yang Fenying said. Feng Qingxiu was a little embarrassed and did not nod or shake her head. It was indeed as she said, it was very serious and much worse than Zhang Xiaoyu's. The cold was severe and menstruation was irregular. It was either early or late, which meant ovulation. The situation is worrying, and it is still unknown whether there are other ovarian problems. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1183. Yang's mother suddenly became anxious, Hurry up and prescribe medicine for her, and take care of her first. She couldn't help complaining about her daughter. I've told you 100 times a long time ago that girls shouldn't be greedy for cool things, but you just like to eat cold things. Now you know you regret it, right? Fortunately, Shang-kun is good to you, even if you have been married for so many years and there is no news. He has not said a word. Feng Qingxiu hurriedly said, Auntie, don't worry so much. Comrade Shang-kun has a very good character and is responsible. You don't have to worry about your children, and don't blame Sister Yang. The matter is over. What we should do is condition your body. There are many people in the army who have been married for several years and have no children. How many of them are anxious? Many soldiers know in their hearts that their physical condition may not be as good as it seems when they are fighting in the north and south. There are too many comrades who have lost their fertility to remember. Those have been determined by doctors, and there are still others that have not been determined. Yang Fengying was also very calm. Mom, what are you worried about? I mentioned the problem of children to Shang-kun. He said many times that things about children are left to chance, and you will be happy if you have them. If not, you will adopt 2 children in the future, like there are countless children like Guanzi, but they will still be taken care of by us until they die. Nonsense. Isn't it a little too early for you to say this? Mother Yang was very unhappy. First ask Qingxiu to prescribe a prescription and take care of it. Adopt the child and wait until there is no other way. Okay, Yang Fengying nodded. Feng Qingxiu felt that she could become a famous gynecologist. As soon as Yang Mu and Yang Fengying walked away with the prescription, Fang Ning came back and stretched out her hand in front of Feng Qingxiu. Let me see what's going on. Yes, he is also a person who is stimulated by Bai Shui's pregnancy. Feng Qingxiu concluded that there was nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, Fang Ning pointed to her nose. There was nothing wrong with her. How could she not be pregnant? After she was transferred to the border guard force, she and Jiao Desheng rarely lived apart. She was always worried about having no children. Feng Qingxiu whispered, fertility issues have always been divided equally between men and women. Fang Ning understood. Okay, I understand, that's it, don't say anything outside. Feng Qingxiu stretched out her hand to make a seal. Don't worry, I will definitely not fail to abide by the rules. Seeing her look, Fang Ning smiled, stood up and said, You, take good care of yourself. Your complexion is as bad as if you haven't had enough to eat for many years. If you need anything, just ask and we will try our best to help you. Feng Qingxiu touched her face and said, I think I'm doing fine recently. I'm not as haggard as I was during confinement. How can you not be as white and rosy as before? You really suffered a lot this time. Fang Ning saw it all and glanced at the triplets sleeping in rows on the kong. The triplets are so hard won. Feng Qingxiu followed her gaze and said, I gave birth for the last time, and I no longer have to suffer the pain of pregnancy for 10 months and the pain of childbirth. Fang Ning couldn't help but laugh and said, Is this decided by people? Don't talk too much. You might get pregnant again one day and give birth to a younger brother or younger sister for the triplets. I am destined to have 4 sons, 1 daughter, and 5 children, Feng Qingxiu said proudly. Fang Ning almost laughed loudly, but she was afraid of waking up the child, so she stopped talking and tapped Feng Qingxiu's forehead. While the child is asleep, you can have a good rest and don't tell anyone the reason why I came to see you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1184. Feng Qingxiu waited until Fang Ning left before she remembered that she had forgotten to ask about her parents-in-law. She didn't know if she knew about Jiao Desheng's family background after marrying Jiao Desheng. She should know, right? Jiao Desheng concealed it from the outside world, could he also hide it from the inside? What are you thinking about? If you don't have a good rest, Lu Zhang came back after washing diapers and saw his wife looking thoughtful, and couldn't help but said, "I have told you many times, when the child sleeps, you should sleep with him to avoid lack of sleep." Feng Qingxiu waved to him, and when he arrived, she asked, "Do you know Qiao Desheng's family background?" "Family background? What family background?" Lu Zhang was confused. Just in time to catch a glimpse of Guancheng coming in with Fu Bao taking a nap, Feng Qingxiu yawned and said, "Let Aiken tell you, I'm asleep. Turn over and lie down, nothing will matter." Lu Zhang had no choice but to put his daughter on the small kong and cover her with a quilt, and then asked Guancheng. Guancheng was stunned for a moment, and then said, "At present, I am not sure whether Comrade Wang Suihai from Zhou's hometown is my aunt Wang Xiangxiu. After all, I have never met her, and I don't know the specific situation. It's just that the name and place of origin are the same." "Is it related to Qiao Desheng?" Lu Zhang asked. Guancheng told him the whole story in a low voice, and he suddenly realized, no wonder Qiao Desheng was so worried when the triplets were born. "When I asked him, he said he was fine. Since Fang Ning was transferred here, he has never taken a vacation. Except for tasks, he has never taken a vacation. I have been out of the army, and for the first time this year I am going to take a family leave, at the end of this month." After saying this, he couldn't help but look at Guancheng. "I didn't expect your grandfather's family to have such a background." Guancheng said helplessly, "So what if it has a big background? When the moon waxes, it overflows. Now, both the Wang family and the Guan family have disappeared into the past, and only we are left to live in an ignoble existence. If she hadn't suddenly come to the door, vulgar and vicious, even I doubt how someone like her could get together with my father. My aunt would never mention the Wang family at all." Lu Zhang patted him on the shoulder, "You are still young. When you are young, you can afford to wait. One day you will get what you want." "Will there be such a day? To rehabilitate the Guan family, my brother and I can live uprightly as descendants of the Guan family?" Guancheng asked. "Will there be such a day, uncle? Will there be such a day? Wait, how long do we need to wait?" "Yes," Lu Jiang saw a lot of information from Feng Qingxiu. "In 10 years, you are only 30 years old. Although this vigorous campaign will end after 8 years, it will take a certain amount of time to deal with the aftermath. The information clearly states that most people were rehabilitated around 1978 to 1980, with the majority being the latter." A smile appeared on Guancheng's face. "I hope uncle's words can come true." "You kid," Lu Zhang knew that he still didn't believe it. After all, it has been 19 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China, and people with poor backgrounds have always had a difficult life. "Do you want to see Qiao Desheng?" Guancheng thought for a while, shook his head and said, "It's gone." "Why?" "Their family is in great prosperity, but I understand that you are missing because you are afraid that others will say that you are following the trend. But now their family is in trouble, and the situation of his parents is unknown. Why don't you go and find out?" Guancheng was very hesitant after hearing this. Feng Qingxiu didn't fall asleep, so she turned over and said, "Go, Zhang, take Aiken to find Qiao Desheng, and by the way ask if his mother is Aiken's aunt. Regardless of whether she is, you have to ask Qiao Desheng if he needs anything. Where we help." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1185. It was off today and Tianling was not here. Lu Zhang was worried that Feng Qingxiu and her children would be the only ones at home. "Fu Bao is back. Xiaoun should be nearby. Why don't you call her back to take care of the child for me?" Feng Qingxiu saw through her husband's thoughts at a glance and gave him a look. She really didn't know how to adapt. Guancheng said hurriedly, "My aunt was called away by her comrades." Lu Zhang glanced at his wife and saw her sleeping with her head covered. Guancheng snickered, Didn't uncle say that Comrade Jiao Desheng is off at the end of the month? It's only the beginning of February. There's a good chance. There's no need to rush. It's more important to take care of Aunt. Lu Zhang expressed satisfaction. Time passed quickly, because Feng Qingxiu was in poor health and needed to undergo double confinement, and Zhuang was in particularly poor health. Even the jade gourd could not protect him from health and worry-free, so he had to continue to ask for leave. The triplets were born at the end of December on the Gregorian calendar on December 28, and they would be 2 months old at the end of February. Feng Qingxiu was out of the moon, and Jiao Desheng was about to leave. If he didn't find him, he would have no time. Lu Zhang asked Guancheng to cook some dishes and invited Jiao Desheng and his wife to his home in the evening. When Fang Ning arrived, she paid attention to the children first. She entered the east bedroom, touched Zibao, teased Fuebao, and then looked at the triplets on the Kong. Dun Dun and Xiong were exactly the same, thin, small, and strong. Why does this child look like he hasn't grown up yet? Fang Ning looked at Zhuang distressedly. Dun Dun and Xiong are at least a lot bigger, with bulging cheeks and plump flesh, and big and round eyes. They glance around without fear at all, even at their age, they can't see things that are too far away. Zhuang seemed to be in pain. He kept chattering and his little face was pitifully thin. Feng Qingxiu held her youngest son in her arms with pity. Xiao was born with a weak constitution and ate less, so he was naturally not as good as his 2 elder brothers. I often couldn't sleep all night long, and I was just about to discuss it with Ajiang. Applying for discharge. You want to retire? Fang Ning was surprised. How many people want to join the army but fail, and Feng Qingxiu, who has superb medical skills, actually does the opposite. I can't always ask for leave like this, Feng Qingxiu sighed. With Zhuang like this, how can I be in the mood to work? Asking for leave is just like a common occurrence. What's the difference between not working? Just as he said this, Lu Zhang said outside, Qingxiu, where is the wine I bought? Where did you put it? Where else can I put it? In the cabinet. Guancheng is responsible for cooking, and Feng Qingxiu doesn't dare to use the space easily. Lu Zhang opened the cupboard and found a bottle of wine. It's not Maotai, it's not Fenjiu, it's just ordinary liquor. After drinking for 3 rounds, Lu Zhang said, Desheng, did you encounter any difficulty in asking for leave in a hurry? We have been brothers for so many years, and you have hidden everything from us. Fang Ning glanced at her husband and said nothing. Yes, Captain Jiao, you are treating us like outsiders. Feng Qingxiu held Zhuang and walked around the hall without sitting on the table. When she noticed Fang Ning's face, she knew that Fang Ning knew the situation of her husband's family. I have such a good relationship with Fang Ning. When I brought you together, I didn't want Fang Ning to worry about you. Sister-in-law, don't say that, Jiao Desheng said hurriedly. Feng Qingxiu glanced at him and said, we heard some rumors when we were looking for someone. I don't know whether it is true or false about your family. There are no outsiders in the family at the moment. Come and tell us what happened. Thing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1186. Jiao Desheng sighed, since my sister-in-law has heard about it, I won't hide it from you too. In fact, there is nothing to say and no one can help. My parents had something happen to them in the capital and were sent to northern Shaanxi. I took this family leave just to see them. In the name of Jiao Desheng, no one doubts our relationship. In the name of Jiao Desheng? Do you have another name? Lu Zhang interrupted. Jiao Desheng said sheepishly, my original name is Zhou Wenbin, which means gentle and gentle. My parents are old revolutionaries and have a place in the capital. I didn't want to use my parents' guise to use a pseudonym when I joined the army. I have used the name Jiao Desheng for more than 10 years. There is no difference from my real name. I think that few people know about it, so when I go to visit my parents, it is not easy to attract attention by using the name Jiao Desheng. Since my sister-in-law knows the situation of our family, she must have known that I used a pseudonym. Is it over? Feng Qingxiu nodded. Since you admit it, we have something we want to confirm with you. What's the matter? Sister-in-law, you can tell me, but you won't hide it, Jiao Desheng said hurriedly. What is your mother's real name? We were asking about a lesbian named Wang Xiangxiu, and we were told that it was your mother's previous name, but we are not sure if she is the person we are looking for. After listening to Feng Qingxiu's words, Jiao Desheng's eyes flashed with surprise. Why are you asking about this matter? Lu Zhang replied, you should answer yes or no first, and whether your daughter is a Shanghainesse, the daughter of a capitalist. Jiao Desheng did not deny it. Yes, my mother's original name was Wang Xiangxiu, and she later changed her name to Wang Suihai, which means studying the sea and working hard, and also imitating my father's name. My father's name is Zhou Suikui. My mother did come from a big capital family. St. John's University and Jinling Women's College. Their devolution has something to do with my mother's background. Has your mother mentioned her family? Feng Qingxiu asked. Family, Jiao Desheng thought for a while. More than 10 years ago, something happened to my grandfather's family. When my aunt severed ties with them, she accused them of exploiting the hard-earned money of working people. My grandparents fell ill and died one after another. Then, my eldest uncle, second uncle, and third uncle immigrated to Hong Kong and took their family members with them. Their property was put into the national treasury long before they were taken away. Now looking at the current situation, we are extremely lucky that they left. Otherwise, they would have stayed here. I don't know what kind of disaster we will face. Thinking back on this matter, Jiao Desheng sighed deeply, his eyes a little confused. I don't understand, why are people always judged by their bloodline? Are they judged by their bloodlines for loyalty and traitority? This was probably the reason why my parents asked me to change my name. Lu Jiang's response was to pat him on the shoulder. Oh, let's not talk anymore. The more I talk, the less I know where to go. Jiao Desheng said this and asked, Sister-in-law, you haven't said why you asked about my mother. It can't be for no reason, right? After all, few people know about me. Mom's real name. Feng Qingxiu pointed to Guan Cheng, who was sitting below them, serving them wine and food. My nephew's name is Guan Cheng, Guanjuju's Pass, the Great Wall City, but I guess you haven't heard of him, but you should have heard the names of his parents. His father's name is Guan Zhixuan, who passed away 15 years ago. His mother's name is Wang Xiangmei. It is said that she is the daughter of a big capitalist in Shanghai and has a sister named Xiangxiu. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1187. Jiao Desheng stood up suddenly and stared at Guan Cheng. Are you the son of the aunt who married to Huihei City? You are 20 years old this year, and you were born in June. It is the book festival on the 6th day of June, right? Jiao Desheng looked in disbelief. Guan Cheng stood up and laughed at himself. If the person we asked is right, then what you said is also right. His birthday was the 6th day of June, but he didn't even know it until he was a teenager. He has been wandering with his younger brother since he was a child. How can he remember his birth date? After arriving at the Wanglu Brigade, Father Lu and Aunt Su told him that his birthday was very commemorative. It was the book exhibition festival, and he was the same year as Lu Tianjun. He finally knew his own birthday, but he had no chance to know his brother's birthday. He only remembered that his younger brother was born in a very cold weather. Thinking about it now, it should be the end of the year, the same year as Lu Tianzi, so everyone unanimously agreed that Guan Yu was Lu Tianzi's cousin, not his cousin. After hearing Guan Cheng's answer, Qiao Desheng said in disbelief, "Are you actually alive?" Ah, Guan Cheng looked confused. Did he deserve to die? No, 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 that's not what I meant. Qiao Desheng waved his hand hurriedly. I mean, how did you survive under such difficult conditions? I heard that your mother not only severed ties with her mother's family, but also with her husband's family. Severing the relationship makes her appear innocent. How come you are the nephew of the army commander? I always thought it was a coincidence that you have the same name as him. He looked at Guan Cheng, then at Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu, who were also present. Guan Yu is my brother, my biological brother, and my father's posthumous son. It's normal that you haven't heard of him, Guan Cheng answered Qiao Desheng, and in a few words told the story of himself and his brother before and after being adopted by King Xiu. Things were told to him. Qiao Desheng did not deny him, nor was he willing to hide anything. Treating people with sincerity is your true nature. Qiao Deshengza listened carefully and couldn't help but be filled with emotion. That's it, that's it. My parents sent someone to look for you back then. It was what my grandfather and grandmother meant before they died. It probably meant that my aunt was ruthless, and I was afraid that she wouldn't treat the child who was a member of the Guan family well, so my parents I found you and handed you over to my uncles to raise you. You must leave heir for the Guan family. Back then, my grandfather's family encountered a serious crisis. It was the Guan family, your grandfather and your father who generously donated money, and the situation was saved. My grandparents always remember this feeling. Guan Cheng was stunned. Have you ever looked for us? He had never had this impression. Yes, after many twists and turns, I finally found your mother and found that she had remarried. She had a very bad attitude towards the people my mother sent there, saying that she had nothing to do with my grandfather's family, and that you, a black-type bastard, had long been I starved to death and turned into a lonely ghost. The people who were sent believed it and came back to reply to my parents truthfully. My parents sighed for a long time. It's a pity that the Guan family is so desperate. Now that I see you, I really want to scold you. The person who was sent to find you is really stupid. Why didn't he ask the neighbors? Guan Cheng asked when it was, and Qiao Desheng replied, 13 years ago. After my brother was born, I basically took him to live in a dilapidated temple. I worked in their house during the day and was kicked out at night to make a living by begging. At that time, there were no famines and we always met some people who took pity on us. Good people survived like this. 9 years ago, when famine spread throughout the country, we were completely driven out of our homes. Guanchendao. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1188. Yes, if he had been smarter, he would have taken you away by then. Why would you have suffered so much for so many years? Being kicked out of the house during difficult times, one can imagine how difficult the situation is. Qiao Desheng held Guan Cheng with one hand and Guan Yu with the other. Despite all the hardships, you are all alive. It is really a blessing among misfortunes. If my mother knows that you are safe and sound, she will be very happy. Feng Qingxiu said, in that case, you will take Guan Cheng Guan Yu with you to visit relatives this time. Qiao Desheng and Guan Cheng Guan Yu were stunned at the same time and turned to look at her. What do you want me to do? Visiting relatives. The people who are being visited will be happier to see the two new relatives who have suddenly appeared, right? Especially after thinking that Guan Cheng is no longer alive. Feng Qingxiu said seriously, Miss, this time I really don't know when the next opportunity will be. In the next 2 months, the children will go back to participate in the farm work. Or after visiting relatives, the children will spend more time with their father and go back directly from there. Home, no need to go here again. Qiao Desheng and Guan Cheng were both moved. Qiao Disheng wanted his mother to meet brothers Guan Cheng and Guan Yu, while Guan Cheng wanted to meet the aunt she had never met before. "By the way, cousin, how do you know my birthday?" Qiao Disheng said matter-of-factly, "My grandparents and uncle all went to your first birthday party." How could the grandparents and uncle not be present at the grandson's birthday party? Especially since the Guan family had helped the Wang family to tide over difficulties, no matter how far away they were, they had to go. After listening to Feng Qingxiu's words, Lu Tianzi pointed to his nose. "Should I go with Brother Aiken too?" "You come together, of course we go together," Feng Qingxiu said matter-of-factly, counting the time. "It's the end of February now, and spring plowing is about to begin. Can you guys take some time off?" Guan Cheng shook his head. "No, we originally planned to go back in March. If they really don't go back, Father Lu will definitely send a telegram to urge them to go back. It would be terrible to miss work. That's enough. You follow your cousin to visit relatives in northern Shaanxi and get on the bus directly from there to go home. You can meet your relatives and save time. You kill two birds with one stone. I'm now 2 months old and recovering very well." "You guys don't worry," Feng Qingxiu said, and then said to Lu Jiang, "Don't forget to give the children some money, and bring them all the food stamps and things you can bring." Lu Jiang nodded. He would definitely not forget it. "When I came here, Grandpa Lu gave me money and national food stamps," Guan Cheng said hurriedly. "He Hung Jun sent the food stamps to He Kingian. He Kingian didn't need them, so he gave them to Lu's father. Lu Jiangdao, just take it if it's given to you. I guess your grandpa doesn't have much money left." Although Lu's father had a few $1,000s in his hands at the beginning, in the past 3 or 4 years, and the family has been frequenting black markets and flea markets from time to time, no amount of money is enough to save someone in an emergency. Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu usually have limited money, but they have saved a lot of money in the past 2 years. Guan Cheng scratched his forehead in embarrassment and went to the bank to withdraw money when he came. Father Lu actually muttered that the money was not too much. Thinking about it carefully, they were really spending money lavishly. If others knew about it, they would have to scold them. You can't be a prodigal. However, when they see those exquisite things and antique calligraphy and paintings, they just want to buy them. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "We know what you're spending money on, so what's the point? If you bring a large amount of money, your uncle and I won't worry. We'll bring you 300 yuan first, and we'll remit the rest to your home." Listen to Auntie. When the money was remitted home, Father Lu must have received it, and Guan Cheng didn't say anything. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1189. They left the army with Qiao Disheng and announced to the public that they were going from northern Shaanxi to Huihe City, which did not arouse anyone's suspicion. Only Zhao Xiaoun was a little reluctant and muttered, "You left without waiting for me. Do you want to leave too? Okay, I'll take you to the train station tomorrow and buy a ticket to get on the train." Guo Xiuying looked at him sideways. "Your grandfather called the other day to ask when you will go back." Zhao Xiaoun waved his hands hurriedly, "No, no, no. He hasn't had enough fun yet." Just as Guo Xiuying was about to knock on his head, a little nurse hurried over. Dr. Guo, hurry up and follow me." "What happened?" Guo Xiuying said hurriedly. The little nurse ran out of breath and pulled her out directly. While running forward, she said, "The baby of Dr. Qingxiu's family is sick again, with some lung infection. Sister Sanbeo asked me to come to you to discuss the plan." When she heard that Zhuang was sick, Guo Xiuying ran faster than the little nurse. Zhao Xiaoun heard it from behind, rolled her eyes, and hurried to Lu's house. As expected, She saw Tianling and Yang's mother sweating profusely. I don't know if the twins have telepathy. Dun Dun and Xiong Xiong cried very hard, Fu Bao followed and cried, and 11 Bao was anxious. It's okay, don't cry, Zhao Xiaoun hugged Fu Bao to comfort her. Fu Bao cried breathlessly, brother, my brother is in pain, mom is crying. Zhuang Zhuang was born weak and sickly. Seeing that Zhuang Zhuang was seriously ill, how could a mother not feel distressed? Zhao Xiaoun thought so in her heart, but she didn't dare to say it. She hugged Fu Bao's arms tightly. It's because my brother is in pain that mom is crying, so Fu Bao can't cry. Fu Bao is a sister and has to take care of her brother at home. You still have 2 younger brothers. Brother. Dun Dun. Xiong Xiong, Fu Bao hiccuped, struggled to get down, and ran to Tianling and Yang's mother. Tianling and Yang's mother looked at each other and squatted down to make it convenient for Fu Bao to see his brother. The 2-month-old child was crying hard, his face flushed. Suddenly, he saw Fu Bao's face, as if he felt familiar. Xiong Xiong stopped crying first and laughed tenderly. Xiong Xiong stopped crying, and Dun Dun stopped crying too. Tianling and Yang's mother breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, they all stopped crying. Zibao also wiped the sweat from his forehead and sat on the ground. He was scared by the situation just now. I don't know how Zhuang Zhuang is doing, Yang's mother said worriedly. Although he is not her child, from the birth photo to now, adults feel distressed when he cries. What's more, he is sick now. Lung infection, that's not easy to treat. Zhuang's disease is fierce. Such a small baby, the weak cry is heartbreaking for adults. Every time he is treated, Guo Xiuying, Wang Sanbao, Dr. Liao and Dr. Zhang have to consider again and again, and the effect is not good. They entered the hospital at 3 or 4 in the morning, and it has been almost 12 hours now. Everyone dared not blink, for fear of missing Zhuang's condition. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu were so anxious that their throats were on fire, their eyes were red, and they almost bled. On the huge hospital bed, little Zhuang was thin and weak. If you didn't lie down in front of him and listen carefully, you could hardly hear his faint breathing and see his chest rise and fall. Seeing her little son like this, Feng Qingxiu couldn't stop crying. Those tears almost turned red. Hearing that Zhuang was critically ill, many friends came to visit. What did the doctor say? How is Zhuang? Fang Ning and Yang Fengying were so anxious that Fang Ning couldn't help but ask, didn't you say that there was a talisman to protect him? Why is he sick again, and it's so serious? Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1190. Yang Fengying pulled Fang Ning's sleeve. Who can care more about the child than Qingxiu? Stop saying this. How is the child? Feng Qingxiu raised her head, and her 2 eyes, as beautiful as stars, were now covered with bloodshot eyes and frighteningly red. Just for one day, it made people feel that her cheeks had become 120,000 times thinner, and she cried uncontrollably, to be observed. Several doctors conducted joint consultations and tried their best, but they could not guarantee that Zhuang was safe and sound. Thinking of the traces of sympathy in their and the nurse's eyes, Feng Qingxiu was heartbroken. Here comes the water, here comes the water. The unshaven Lu Zhang, with sunken eyes, took the warm water his wife asked for, separated from the crowd and walked into the ward, then frowned. Didn't you say you don't want to visit? Go back quickly, there are fewer people. Zhuang's breathing will be easier. Feng Qingxiu carefully picked up Zhuang, and Lu Zhang quickly handed over the bottle. At this time, the bottle is not filled with milk powder, but warm water. Zhuang, good boy, mommy will feed you some water, so you won't feel uncomfortable after drinking water. Feng Qingxiu sniffed and tried her best to calm down. Lu Zhang stretched out his hand and said, I'll do it. Being so strong and weak that she couldn't even breathe in, Fang Qingxiu turned to Lu Jiang and said, "Give me a sip of the water in the enamel jar." A large amount of water came into her mouth. She did not swallow it. Instead, she faced Zhuang's mouth and slowly poured the water into his mouth. Finally, he swallowed it smoothly before her lips left his small mouth. One mouthful after another, the speed should not be too fast or too slow, and the water temperature should not be too cold or too hot. After a few mouthfuls, Fang Qingxiu stopped. Seeing this, Yang Fenying, Fang Ning and others knew that it was useless to say anything at this time, so they quietly retreated. At the same time, they waved their hands to the people at the door and whispered, "Let's go, let's all go, don't stand around and let the airflow can't get through." Everyone sighed when they thought of Lu Jiang's identity, Fang Qingxiu's outstanding performance, and the lively 11 Bao Fu Bao. Is it really difficult for things in this world to be perfect? How many people envied her for giving birth to triplets at first, but now most of them pity her, pity Zhuang who fell ill just after giving birth. Gaining something and then losing it is really heartbreaking for a mother. Although it was Yang Fenying and Fang Ning who suggested that everyone leave, they were left at the end. They saw Guo Xiuying and Wang Sanbao entering in a hurry and coming out after a long time, their footsteps heavy. "How is it?" Fang Ning and Yang Fenying asked in unison. Wang Sanbao shook his head and said nothing. Guo Xiuying looked a little sad and said with a wry smile, "In the delivery room, we comforted Qingxiu and told her that Zhuang was born weighing only 3 pounds, which is better than many singletons. Now we simply don't know how to explain it to her. Zhuang's situation is really bad, and his hope of survival is very slim. The bottom line is that first, Zhuang's constitution is too weak, and second, the hospital has no medicine for children at all. Everyone knows how attentive Fang Qingxiu is to his children. Zhuang's illness is not due to external causes, but internal causes. It is his own shortcomings that made him fall ill in the spring when he is prone to illness, but there is no suitable medicine available." When Fang Ning and Yang Fenying heard what Guo Xiuying said, their eyes suddenly turned red. That child is Qingxiu's life." Fang Ning wiped the corners of her eyes, not daring to imagine the bad news Fang Qingxiu would have to face next. "Comrade Qiao Desheng and I had dinner at her house a while ago, and she said she wants to retire from the army and focus on taking care of her children, but if she takes care of her children while working, she won't be able to take care of them at all. She doesn't trust her children to be taken care of by others.